Liz, welcome.
Thank you so much.
We're so
Chris.
happy to have you here. And before we start, everyone needs to take a copy of Los Angeles Magazine. It's our best of issue. There's a beautiful spread here on Liz. I want you guys to all read it as well, so take a copy with you. So how are you today?
I'm doing fine.
That's great. Well, tell us a little bit about you that some of us don't know.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone, Rotary, for having me here. It's truly an honor, and I feel very thankful and blessed, but at the same time, grateful with gratitude. Brenda, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the inspiration. It was very touching. Thank you.
What I love, Liz, is that everybody has a story about Larry, and I think it's really compelling how many people he's touched and how many facts about him that people do not know, right? People have seen the movie, they've read the magazines, they've seen some of the controversy, but I learned so much from you about Larry's legacy. I think it's important to actually share that with everybody. So my first question about stewarding a legacy is you often say that you're not simply preserving what Larry built, but evolving it. What does stewardship mean to you, and how do you balance honoring a legacy while making it your own?
Good question. Well, stewarding Larry's legacy and also starting my own and putting my stamp on this company that Larry built over 50 years ago, it was a huge responsibility to inherit. Larry passed away 5 years ago. He suddenly became ill and was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away at Cedars-Sinai in 21. I wasn't prepared at the time, at the moment, so it was a sudden shock to me. But through the 30 years of mentoring with Larry at the business, I felt that I knew someday I would be involved, and he did make me aware a year before he became ill. And I thought about it, but then I didn't spend too much time thinking about it because I thought, well, he's alive. Larry was this big personality. He was the boss. He built the company from ground up. And I never had to worry about anything. But once he was gone, I felt all alone. And I thought, I can't do this by myself. But Larry had built the company and structured the company and had this management team. And he did remind me at one point in time that if something should happen to me and I'm not around, Liz, you're going to have to mold it to the way you want to run this company. And I started to think of all the things he had mentioned in the past. But running this company, I can't do it by myself. We have over 2,200 employees. My management team is here today. I have my CEO, CFO, head of HR, my 2 in-house counsel. My VP of gaming isn't here today, but I have my VP of retail stores. This company is over 50 years, and it is just huge. We're global also. A lot of people know Larry for Hustler Magazine. That's the brand he built. But after that, he expanded and he started to really grow the company after 1995. And he started with video, retail stores, gaming, and before you know it, it just grew so fast that, and I used to ask Larry, do you enjoy building the company? He said, Liz, it's not work. It's something that you love and enjoy doing. It's not work. But I'm so grateful and thankful for the Flynt Management Group that housed me. They are always there for me 100%. I have my daily challenges, and I'm facing them every day. But Larry always reminded me that at one point in your life, you're going to come to a crossroads about a decision. And when I get to that point sometimes, I always ask myself, what would Larry say? How would Larry approach this? And I feel that having that comfort gives me the courage, the strength, resilience, and to really make a better decision.
I love that. Let's go back to the 80s, Liz. So you were a nurse at Huntington Hospital, and Larry's first wife had passed away, and you met Larry. Tell us the story of that meeting, the spark, the wedding. Give us everything.
Well, I'm a registered nurse by trade, and I only worked at 2 hospitals, Huntington Memorial in Pasadena and UCLA. I worked in the coronary care unit heart transplant. And I met Larry in '91, and a friend of mine was one of his nurses and said, hey Liz, can you help me with a case? And I said, I had the time because I only worked 3 days a week. They were 12-hour shifts, but it was a 3-day. And I said, okay, and it was a male nurse. His name was Mike, and I did, but I didn't know who Larry Flynt was, and I wasn't naive. I just didn't know who Larry was. He was a very nice man. He had his health challenges, but I felt that he was a very sweet man, very worldly man, and a very interesting man. And a year after I was working for him, he asked me out, and I said no. And a couple months later, he asked me out, and I still said no. And then he asked me out again, and I said, well, how about if you come to my home in Alhambra and have dinner with my family?
I love that.
And he came.
And he brought your sister and your mom flowers, right?
He did.
And what I loved about the story is Liz's wedding to Larry was actually at her childhood home. And it wasn't an elaborate affair at the Beverly Hills Hotel or anything like that. And I think it kind of speaks volumes to Larry's character. But one thing about Larry that he stood by was obviously the First Amendment and human rights. He always defended it, and often at a great personal cost. Looking at today's cultural landscape, why do you believe freedom of expression remains so important, even when the conversations are difficult?
Well, the First Amendment is the cornerstone of American democracy. We are so blessed in this country to have that. But I feel in the last few years we've been challenged. I feel that not only our civil, but also our rights are being chipped away very slow. Larry fought very hard and went to court so many times. Never a convicted felon, but was always jailed on protest. However, I feel that our work is not done. And Larry introduced me to the ACLU. I've been a card-carrying member since 1995. I feel that we need to align ourselves, besides going to protest, to try and figure this one out. Because with this new administration, we have many challenges.
Right. And he spent time really kind of building his legacy up and fighting for people's rights, LGBT rights, human rights, and really spoke volumes of who he was.
Women's rights.
Yeah, women's rights. So let's go back to you being a leader at this organization. You led the company through tremendous change, from expanding retail operations to growing the business in entirely new directions. What have you learned about leadership during the seasons of uncertainty?
Well, to have the strength, the capability, and resilience is so important. So it took a lot of me to rise above and to work with my management team how we were going to move this company forward. And after Larry passed away in 21, not only was it part of my responsibility to grow the company, because when Larry was very ill in the hospital, a week before he passed away, he said, Liz, in case I don't make it or get better, he said, promise me that you'll keep that company running and with growth. And to this day, I'm continuing that promise to him. What I've done since Larry's passing is not only did I grow the retail, I added 20 more Hustler Hollywood retail stores. I launched Hustler Casino Live. It's an online gaming. I acquired 40 retail e-commerce stores from Playboy Enterprises, and I've actually moved the corporate headquarters from Beverly Hills to Century City. And the latest was, a year ago, was partnering with DoorDash, which everyone is familiar with, and partnering with DoorDash to deliver merchandise with our retail stores. And you could make an order at the Hustler website, Hustler Hollywood, and then within 45 minutes to 50 minutes, you'll have your purchase delivered. So we are the first to pioneer that with DoorDash. Right now, it's just food.
I love that. Also, Liz, think about all the people that you've employed, all the job growth in all these cities. I mean, it's remarkable, and you're really helping people out by providing a platform for them to come to work for your organization.
Yes, we have over 2,200 employees and 2 casinos and over 100 retail stores. I mean, the company is huge, but I'm so proud of my management team that helps me run this company that Larry built.
How do you stay grounded? Do you work out? Do you meditate? Like, what do you do to just keep yourself calm and cool and collected?
Well, my happy place is attending a Pilates class 3 times a week because it takes my mind away from business. And also, I love my dogs. I have 2 schnauzers, a miniature and a standard. And if you go to our 2 casinos, you'll see that some of the areas in the casino have all their names, like Bailey's Bar and Grill, Baxter's Bar, Corky Snack Bar, Coco's Deli. And it all started with Larry. He would say, put your name up on there. I said, no. And he said, wow, it's going to be my dogs.
So I met you at Barnes & Noble with Kathy Griffin. Mm-hmm. Really interesting time for us to meet. And you created this beautiful legacy book. Tell us about the book and what inspired you to start the book.
So I wrote this book. It took me 18 months to write this book. It's called Hustler, 50 Years of Freedom. Larry didn't live long enough to write the book, so I felt I was qualified with the 30-plus years to write the book. And it's a coffee table book, and it's through the decades of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it goes through the best illustrations, the best covers, the best just cartoons. That was Larry's favorite part of the magazine. He said, humor is so important part of our daily life. He always felt that people needed to, tell a joke, have a good laugh, because life is short and very precious.
Absolutely. And I remember my Larry experience. Obviously, he was a regular at the Hotel Bel Air. Mm-hmm. And have you guys all been to the Hotel Bel Air for lunch and seeing the car parked out front? Mm-hmm. I remember being a little, mm-hmm. snooping around and looking at the car, and he was so gracious, and he said, come on, you want to see the car? And that really spoke out. He didn't know who I was, and said,
he was a sweet man.
Come look at the car, mm-hmm. So you've been around a lot of celebrities and a lot of things in Hollywood. Tell us a fun celebrity story of someone you met that either inspired you or did something funny for you guys, or we want to hear a celebrity story. Funny. I know this wasn't on the script, Liz. Sorry, Jade.
Ooh.
Okay.
I have so many stories.
How about Woody Harrelson?
He's family. After the movie, when Woody portrayed Larry in the People vs. Larry Flynt, that was directed by Milos Forman, everyone became family. And I'm still in touch with Woody, his daughters, and his wife Laura, and they live in Maui. and I saw them on New Year's. Their family, just wonderful people, and one of their daughters is a lawyer now, and she works for the prosecutor's office in New York. I think he wasn't too happy at first, but your children have to find their area, where they want to work or where they want to be, or you have to let them just find their area. But one of my favorites is, what's a good story? Rob, that is I was telling Jade Nicola the other day.
Who's this?
Jade,
Right.
that works for you.
Of course.
I was telling
I know
her,
who she is.
and I think
Who's
I
she talking
told
about?
one of Rotary members here about one of my favorite stories. So this was in the late 90s. So Larry used to have these cartoon luncheon edits, and he was with his editor of the magazine. His name was Bruce David, and it was myself. And we were having lunch, and Larry passes this cartoon for me. He goes, "What do you think, Liz?" And I said, read it. I said, "Run it." And then, but before I could answer, I heard a voice behind me said, "Run it, Larry." And I heard the voice, and I saw this guy come around. He said, "Hey, Mr. Flynt, Rob Reiner." And Larry goes, "Hi, Rob." And he goes, Rob Reiner said, "How do I get in on this meeting? I want to be a part of this." And Larry said, "Anytime, Rob, anytime."
I love that. I think I had the hotel wrong. I think I said the Hotel Bar. I think it was the Peninsula
Peninsula, yeah.
Hotel. Sorry, everybody. All right, so my final question about defining legacy. When people look back decades from now, what do you hope they say about the legacy you've built?
Putting my stamp on this company was very challenging, especially a woman. Women have come a long way, but we still have a lot of work to do. Women work hard. Larry used to say in one of his books, he mentions, women are smarter than men. Sorry, men. Sorry, gentlemen.
I agree with that, right, Carly and Tor? Yeah.
But what I've decided to do is not waste any time thinking about small things, but always trying to expand daily challenges and grow the company. But I can't, once again, I'm sounding so repetitive, but my management team, I always have them and include them in on big, major decisions. That is key. I enjoy what I do. I'm very passionate about this company. I've been through many big decisions that Larry had to make. And the only one decision that I saw him very heartbroken is when we were going through COVID, when he had to lay off people and, just make so many unfortunate decisions. And he asked me one evening when he was thinking about it, he says, "Do you know what that means, Liz?" And I said, "Tell me, Larry, I want to hear your words." And he said, "That means that someone won't be able to make that mortgage payment. Someone won't be able to make that tuition. They won't have food on the table, car payments, the everyday life, and that's going to be affected based on my decision." And it was heartbreaking. And it still hurts me today because, with the inflation that our country is going through, it's hard. But that was the only time I saw him very just at crossroads and trying to make that final decision. Like this whole city was shut down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Liz, you are a delight. And I think does anyone have questions for Liz? No, John does.